So what does Derek look like as a youth? Did Christianity continue to grow in your heart at this point, or?
No, the opposite. I mean, it waned,
Hmm.
I suppose. I kind of hit this phase just through some kind of difficulties in life where I was like, okay, God, you're an idea that's there, but you're not involved in my life.
Hmm.
You're not, there's no reality to this. And I was angry. I was angry at just circumstances in my life. And so eventually, I mean, skipping over some things, in my teenage years, I kind of got to this. I guess it was because I thought it was cool and edgy to say like God's an imaginary friend for old people. You
Hmm.
know, just makes you feel better when you're dying. He's not real. And so then I kind of went down the path you go down when you do that sort of thing, and um, you know, lived a rock and roll sort of lifestyle.
Hmm.
And then he hit me over the head after that. But yeah.
What does it getting hit over the head look like?
Yeah, I feel like I'm skipping so many parts of this, and maybe they'll come up as we go, and maybe they're not necessarily like pertinent details to what we're talking about. But fast forward way down the road, I was in a heavy metal band. I was touring with that band. This is 2011, so I was just 21. We're on the road. It's five dudes sleeping in a van in a Walmart parking lot every night.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
That must have been a raunchy van.
Let me really paint a picture for you. Are you ready? Yeah.
Five guys?
You're deeply going to regret asking me to do this podcast. Five guys with very few showers. We're talking like baby wipe downs in Walmart bathrooms.
Oh my goodness.
We lost a rotisserie chicken under the back seat of the van early on.
Wait, hold on. You what?
We lost the carcass of a rotisserie chicken.
How do you lose a carcass of a rotisserie
Well, we
chicken?
ate it, and then it slid under the seat, and we never found it again.
Nobody noticed?
No. We were all smokers.
Oh, wow.
So there was a lot of that. And then here's what we did to get creative. We would eat tuna out of the can, and then we wouldn't rinse the can, but we would duct tape it to the wall of the van to use as an ashtray.
What? So you guys must have smelled like a bouquet of flowers all the
It
time.
was raw, for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Just to like really, like I said, paint the picture of the depths of rock bottom,
Wow.
But again, on this tour, this was sort of my like let loose phase. Like I was drinking a lot. I was, yeah, I don't know, but I also had a sense of like boyish fear, because we were in a lot of situations where like the van would break down and we're hundreds and hundreds of miles away from home. We have no money. We don't know if we can get home. Some spots we're in, people are telling us like this isn't safe. Like you can't stay here overnight. You'll get robbed. You'll get, all these different things. And just because of those little seeds that my grandfather planted, eventually it was like, God, if you're there, let the van start. And the van would start. And we'd go to the next place. Then the next mechanic would say, like, this van, like the fuel pump's dead. This van will not start again. God, just let us get to the next city. The van would start. We'd get to the next city. Wow. And like this kept happening.
So were you the only one praying these prayers, or?
As far as I know, yeah. But I was like, okay. It really woke me up. Like, no, you are there. And beyond that, you actually are involved in my life. Like, you actually care about me. You actually hear my prayers. And
about details, right? Although, like, I mean, just starting a car. Yeah.
So, and it was also around this time, again, missing so many complicated factors of the story, that I really kind of got connected to, who is now my wife, who already had a beautiful, deep, strong Christian faith. And we're talking as this is happening, and she's like, "Don't you know he loves you?" I'm like, "I don't know anything about God, but I love this love that I'm receiving." And she's encouraging me to keep in it, So we get back from the tour, and I feel like I owe God something. So I say to the guys in the band, we're sitting down to plan the next tour, and I'm like, well, I think we should be a Christian band now. God clearly was with us. We should, use this as an opportunity to go around and share that.
And were the guys open to this kind of conversation?
No, they weren't. And primarily they were saying this from artistic point of view of like we don't want to like pigeonhole ourselves as a Christian band. You know, we want to be able to make art about whatever. And they all had some level of Christian faith, some stronger, some weaker. But yeah, it wasn't like they weren't ready for that. So I said, well, then I have to leave. So I quit the band and I moved to Nashville right after that.
So you're telling me that despite all of these really interesting experiences that you had with the band, with the guys in the van, it was hitting rock bottom that made you cry out.
I mean, that's so often the story, isn't it?
Right.
It's like I know people have said, well, you know, I can't turn to Jesus right now because it's only because I want something from him. That's the only reason any of us turn to him in the first place. It's like we need salvation. We need his help. And like God is a loving father. What father doesn't delight in his children asking for help?
Right.
But that's where I was. I was like, I need you. I'm scared. I'm lonely. I'm immature. I can't do this. I screwed up. I need you. And he faithfully answered that.
Did you know that? Did you know that God was a loving father who delights in his children coming to him?
No.
Like, so how did you know to cry out?
It was just like instinct. I don't know. It has to be something that rubbed off from my grandfather. I mean, he would just simple prayers, you know, and we would kind of do that at night. Even when I was older, like a teenager, you know, he would encourage now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep.
Right.
Prayer, you know,
Yeah.
and I remember praying that well into like my early 20s.
No way.
You know, like when I would pray, it was that. And so I don't know if just that childlike way of praying sort of like just took root somehow and came out in those moments. But
so in those years where you're now touring and right before you leave the band, you said this is where you met your wife to be.
yeah.
Now, was she always upfront about the fact that she was a faithful Christian and this was a big deal to her?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Does that freak you out?
A little bit at the time where I felt like you're not going to be fun or like, you know, you're going to expect something out of me that I can't be. But I was also kind of at my wit's end with relationships. You know, I had a series of really bad, unhealthy relationships with girls and with all that entails. And I was like, I need something different. Again, it was sort of like I was at this rock bottom with relationships where it was just like, I'm tired of doing the same thing. Something needs to be different. Like I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of feeling disgusted with myself. I'm tired. Like I want my life to be different.
So what was her background in terms of denomination?
Non-denominational, evangelical, free.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where she came from.
And something you alluded to, I think maybe as a youth, did you feel that you did not need God at some point? I mean, when you went on journeying with your friends in this rock band, was that the feeling that you had? And that's why you kept God on the side and then that need kind of developed, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was I control my own destiny sort of vibe. And I just didn't like think about this idea of including God in every decision or every thought. It was just like, this is my life. And so much of my life to that point had felt out of my hands. You know, just kind of family dynamics, difficulties, trauma growing up. And so it was like, I'm going to go out into the world with this music thing, which is an outlet and helps me express this like deep-seated anger that's in me. Like I said, it was a heavy metal band. I did all the screaming vocals and like very aggressive. And it made me feel tough and strong. I mean, it was almost like, I don't know, like that was the kind of masculinity I wanted to grab onto. Was something that was like, you need to stay away from me because like, look, I'm crazy and I'm tough and you can't mess with me.
Like a persona.
Yeah. But it was the furthest thing from who I really was.
Interesting.
Or am. You know?
Interesting.
So that pain that came about is what woke you up essentially. That you're not God. You're not that strong. You're not.
Yeah, even in this like scenario that I had helped set up to go on this tour and do this thing, like I did that, right? I booked the whole tour, like I made this thing happen, and then we go out and it doesn't go the way that we planned. And it was like, but I planned this. I can't fix that. I don't know how to fix a car. I don't know how to do any of these things. Like even my best plan to take control of my life, I couldn't control that.
Right. Right.